Imagine with me that it's 1895 and we are on a sailing ship bound for Canada. We're watching an orphan, Gwen Peters, 11 years old. Gwen has been trained at a girls' home in London, England, to work as a housemaid. One thing that keeps her optimistic is the thought that Canada is where a famous poet lives. When this poet visited London, England last year, Gwen had sneaked into the theatre to see her perform. It was an amazing and life-changing experience. On the ship now, after a wild 2-day storm, the evening is calm. Walking back to our cabin after prayers that night, I noticed the moon and stopped. It was full and low and cast a silver light on the sea. That same moon shone in England on all my friends there. It shone on all the wild animals and the great forests of Canada too. Maybe Miss Pauline Johnson was looking at it right this minute, conjuring up a new poem for a new book. "Don't be long," Jean said, "and don't fall overboard." She stepped into the cabin and left me, standing by the railing near the lifeboat. I whispered a verse from Miss Pauline Johnson's poem, Moonset. "The troubled night bird calling plaintively wanders on restless wing." Shh! I heard something. Had something moved right beside me? I thought I was seeing things. I imagined that a shadowy form had lifted the tarp on the lifeboat. I saw it again. Holding my breath, I glanced left and right, but I was alone. When the tarp moved a third time, my stomach clenched like a fist. I stepped into the shadows against the wall. After an eternity, a man's head appeared. He looked around, climbed up, and then jumped down, landing with a soft plop on the deck. His eyes were huge. His face under the dirt was white as paper. He looked familiar. I stepped out of the shadows. His fist came up fast as he whirled to face me. We'll leave it just there. I always knew that my grandmother had come from England to Canada. What I did not know until I was a grown-up was that she had come here as a home child. In 1898, she came to work as a servant. She was 10 years old. Knowing this made me admire her even more than I had before. It also made me want to write a story to honor her and the other 100,000 British home children who were shipped out to Canada to work in homes and on farms. This was between 1870 and 1930. They were brave kids. They had to be. After I wrote Gwen, the story seemed to want to continue, and so I wrote West Wind Calling. In this story, Gwen travels to Calgary, Northwest Territories, on the brand new railway. These books are both historical fiction, which means they're partly true and partly made up. I don't know if a real British home child had to outrun a forest fire, but I do know that Miss Pauline Johnson, a poet and performer from the Six Nations, was real, and that she was fabulous. She wrote a book called White Wampum that Gwen loves. I hope you will enjoy reading these books. They're in bookstores now, they're online, and they're in libraries. Thanks very much for watching.